Dear friends, today we are going to share with you a true and heart-wrenching incident that will shake you to your core. After hearing it, you'll be left wondering, can such a TNG really happen? A widowed mother and her 3 young daughters, all unmarried, suddenly turned out to be pregnant. These girls hardly ever stepped out of the house and had no contact with outsiders. So naturally, the question arises, who did this to them? Was it their biological father, a stepbrother, an uncle, a relative, someone close, yet trusted, someone who was a part of the family, and from whom such an act was never expected? This incident rocked the entire village. The walls of the homes trembled when the truth was revealed. So let's not waste any time and listen to the shameful tale that proves every predator doesn't live outside. Sometimes, the real monster hides inside the house, wearing the most trusted face. This is the story of a poor, hardworking, and heartbroken widow named Bibi Halima. Her first husband had passed away years ago, leaving her with a son. Even after she remarried, that son continued living with her. From her second marriage, Halima had 6 daughters, so beautiful, shy, modest, and well-raised. But fate was cruel. Her second husband also died early, and Halima became a widow once more. Yet she never compromised on raising her daughters with dignity and discipline. Bibi Halima lived in a small, mud brick house with her 6 daughters. She worked tirelessly at washing dishes in homes, doing laundry, and earning meager wages to feed her children. Her stepson, Cameron, lived with them. He was from her first husband. All the daughters considered him their brother. Everything seemed normal until one day, a storm blew through their lives. Halima's eldest daughter began to feel unwell. She complained of dizziness, fatigue, and nausea. The poor mother didn't understand at first. But when the girl's condition worsened, she took her to a clinic in the city. After some examination, the doctor quietly said, "Your daughter is pregnant." That one sentence turned Halima's world upside down. She was stunned. Her daughter was unmarried, decent, and modest. How could this happen? Who did this? When? Why? In shock, she scolded her daughter, wept, screamed. But the girl kept crying and saying, "Ammi, I've never even looked at anyone. Please believe me." Halima's heart shattered. She realized her daughter was telling the truth. But the nightmare wasn't over. Within days, her second daughter, then the third, showed the same symptoms. All were pregnant, and each one swore, "Ammi, we don't know anything. We swear to God that we remember nothing." This tragedy broke Halima from within. She cried for days, trying to understand what had happened. But there were no answers. Then, gathering her courage, she decided to seek justice. With hope in her heart, she went to the court of Sultanabad's King Shahanshah Yazd. The royal court was in session. The king sat on his throne, hearing the people's grievances. Suddenly, Bibi Halima entered, her face soaked in tears, clothes covered in dust, feet bare, and eyes pleading. "When will I get justice?" The king looked at her and asked, "Mother, why are you crying? What sorrow do you carry?" Halima looked around, then went silent. The minister stepped forward and said, "Mother, you've come to court. Please speak. Tell us what troubles you." But Halima replied, "Your Majesty, I wish to speak to you in private. My sorrow is such that if I share it here, even the walls of my home will tremble in shame." The king was surprised, but seeing the pain in her trembling voice and tearful eyes, he said, "Take this mother to my private chamber. I want to hear her sorrow." 2 guards escorted Halima inside. There, in the king's private chamber, she collapsed at his feet, sobbing uncontrollably. The king's heart melted. "Mother, your pain is my pain. Tell me the truth. If there is a monster hiding in my kingdom, I will expose him and make him a lesson for all." With a trembling voice, Bibi Halima began to speak. "Your Majesty, I am a widow. My first husband died years ago. I had a son with him, who still lives with me. Later, I remarried and had 6 daughters with my second husband. But fate was cruel again. I became a widow once more. That man turned out to be so cruel that he didn't live long as my husband, and once again, I became a widow. The burden of raising 6 children fell solely on my shoulders. Your Majesty, I spend my days sweeping and mopping in the homes of the rich, washing their dishes. Whatever leftover food or a few coins I receive, that's what feeds my children. My daughters are very modest, observant of the veil, and have never stepped out alone. They always keep their heads covered and eyes lowered. My life was barely getting by, when one day, my eldest daughter fell ill. She became weak, started feeling dizzy, and began vomiting. I took her to the city doctor. After examining her, the doctor said, "Your daughter is pregnant." As he said that, my voice began to tremble and tears welled up in my eyes. "Your Majesty." The ground slipped from beneath my feet. "My daughter isn't even married yet. How can I accept this?" I brought her home and, in my anger, slapped her and shouted, "Who did this to you? Whose child is this?" But my daughter just kept crying and fell at my feet, saying, "Mother, I don't know. I swear by God, I've never even looked at anyone, never even spoken to anyone. I've never been outside alone. I don't know how this happened." "Your Majesty, she's my daughter. I gave birth to her, raised her, taught her." I can see the truth in her eyes, and I knew she was telling the truth. We remained silent. The child was born, and we accepted him into our hearts. But a few months later, my second daughter also fell ill. I took her to the same doctor and he gave me the same news. "Your daughter is pregnant." My heart sank. My hands and feet turned cold. Who was doing this? How? When? No one comes to our house. My daughters never go outside. No one even knocks on our door. And as if that wasn't enough, days later, my third daughter also fell ill and she, too, was pregnant. I kept quiet and prayed to God, "Oh Allah, show me who is doing this to my daughters." But the truth remained hidden. No sign was found. Now, my patience has reached its limit. I want to know who that beast is who steals the innocence of my daughters and disappears without a trace. I want justice. Your Majesty, I want justice. Saying this, Bibi Halima collapsed at the feet of the king. Silence fell over the courtroom. The face of King Yazdan turned grim. He made a decision. This was no longer just a mother's grief, but this had become a question of the entire kingdom. Hearing Bibi Halima's plea, the entire court was stunned. King Yazdan rose from his seat and, taking a deep breath, said, "Mother, you have come now when 3 daughters' lives are already ruined. You should have come to me when the first daughter became pregnant. If you had told me then, perhaps the other 2 wouldn't have suffered the same fate. But it's also true that poor people like you, out of fear of disgrace, bury the truth. You drink the poison of shame to protect your daughter's honor. And when that poison begins to burn from within, only then do you cry out. You are one of those mothers who come late out, but you still come." Bibi Halima lowered her eyes in shame, tears falling as she whispered, "You're right, Your Majesty. I should have come earlier. But what's done is done. Now, all I want is for the criminal to be caught up, the monster who quietly ruins our lives." The king looked at her, his heart now boiling with rage. He said, "Mother, this is no longer just your problem, it is now the problem of my entire kingdom. And as long as I am alive, no monster will be allowed to hurt helpless, pure-hearted women and escape justice. My belief is, if even one innocent woman is helpless in my kingdom, then curse my rule. Go now, rest. Your sorrow is now my pain." Bibi Halima adjusted her scarf, eyes full of tears, and left silently. King Yazdan returned to his throne, appearing to hear more petitions, but his mind and heart were consumed with one thought: who is this man who appears an angel by day and a beast by night, who ruined a mother's 3 daughters? After court, the king retreated to his private chamber and immediately summoned his chief minister. The minister entered and, seeing the grave look on the king's face, asked, "Your Majesty, what troubles you so deeply?" The king answered sternly, "A beast hides in my kingdom, one who has committed a crime so vile that even the earth would shudder. That woman's 3 daughters have been destroyed, and today she cried in my court. Is that justice?" The minister replied with sorrow, "This is indeed a grave crime. Your Majesty, what do you wish for us to do?" The king snapped, "I want to know who that man is when he comes, how he enters the house. He is like a termite, silently eating away that family, and we must expose him." The minister paused, then leaned forward and said, "Your Majesty, even walls have ears. I have a plan, but I can't say it in front of everyone." The king lowered his head and said, "Come closer and tell me quickly." The minister stepped forward and whispered a strategy into the king's ear, a plan that would quietly set a trap and catch the beast red-handed. The king immediately commanded, "Go and put it into action." That very night, The minister arrived at Bibi Halima's house with the dog. He knocked. When Bibi Halima opened the door, she was surprised and asked, "Minister Sahib, you here at this hour?" With a serious expression, the minister replied, "Mother, after hearing your story, the king couldn't sleep all night. We are now going to find that beast. We just need your help." Seeing the dog, Bibi Halima asked in shock, "Why have you brought a dog? What will you do with it?" The minister calmly responded, "Just let us inside, I'll explain everything." Bibi Halima stepped aside, and the minister entered. Quietly, he said, "Tonight, this dog will help us unmask that beast. You all must stay completely silent. Act as if nothing is happening. If our plan works, we'll catch the criminal tonight." He tied the dog outside in the courtyard, exactly where someone might jump down from the roof. Then he explained, "Tonight, no one screams. Just observe and stay strong. We've placed the dog here so that as soon as the intruder enters, the dog will bark. Our guards will immediately act." He instructed 2 soldiers to hide around the house for surveillance. Comforting Bibi Halima and her daughters, he quietly left and returned to the palace. The king immediately asked, "Minister, is the trap set? Is the dog tied in the right place?" The minister bowed and said, "Yes, Your Majesty. Everything is exactly as you instructed. If the monster returns tonight, he won't escape." The king took a deep breath. "Minister, I cannot sleep until that beast is punished. I cannot bear that innocent women cry in my rule." Night deepened. Silence enveloped the village. The moonlight scattered fear across the land. And then around midnight a shadow appeared on the roof of Bibi Halima's house. A man crept forward, leapt down into the courtyard, and instantly, the dog began barking loudly so fiercely that not only Bibi Halima and her daughters woke up, but also the hidden guards were immediately on alert. Bibi Halima clutched her daughters close. "Yeah, he's here, broken bar the monster, a broken bar." Her heart pounded. The soldiers stormed inside. The masked man screamed and tried to run, but the guards caught him. They twisted his arms and brought him to the ground. "A broken bar?